one of these elements, so I'll start off with eating, and just how eating can be applied to that quartet and be quite nourishing in itself. So coming into this holographic quartet, I'm just going to use a different coloured pen to describe eating now. So if I apply eating to this model, when we eat, for example, food comes in, or it's put in our path, and we are tempted all the time by the food that's around us. So the first question we ask is, are we able to accept it? Is it right for me? And by right, you need to kind of know what you want. And if you're not too sure, it's totally fine to pause and just ask myself and ask your body, is this just right for me now? And the actual process of asking that question is a form of acceptance, including not necessarily knowing that's a form of acceptance. But at that stage, you can differentiate whether it's right for you or you just let it pass. And if it is, then you let it in. And then the next bit, I'm just going to remove these parts actually. And so the next part of eating, so is this just right? I say just right is going to be the theme. The next part is how can I best be nourished by this food? And interestingly, most people just think about what's the right thing to eat and how to get it in. But I realise that once it's in us, we need to be in the best state to be best nourished by it. So there are different things that really help. So one thing that really makes a big difference is actually stopping and resting the gut. And that's what we do when we sleep. I also pause after a meal. So after a meal, I actually lie in a position called semi-supine to allow my gut to work and nourish and absorb the lovely nutrients from the foods. And when I lie in that position for between 10 and 15 minutes, simply being and breathing on the floor, I then allow myself and my parasympathetic nervous system to switch on, which switches on my gut. And I can hear something called the borboigny, which is a sort of rumbling sound, which you've probably heard in your guts when you feel nice and relaxed. That's a really good sign. Usually about 10 to 15 minutes, just to get that going and allow myself to be nourished. And as the food is nourishing me, I then come to the next stage, which is dispersal. So what do I do with that lovely food? Where does it go? And that's where it's really important to be active and move, and that's physically and mentally active, and engage with that. So a lot of people move and think, but it's how I disperse and use that energy and that nutrient, and how do I do my good work? So you could ask yourself, where's the best place to put that? And then having dispersed that, I then come to surrender, which is where I then stop trying and simply connect in. And in this case, the bubble is just simply connecting in with being supported by what's holding it upright. And in that not trying, it's that sort of sense of not necessarily concentrating on food anymore, just allowing something else to enter our awareness. So if I was to eat well, I would consider the ins and outs of eating well, and it's more than just food. That's what I'm trying to say. There are so many other elements to it, and food and choosing what you eat is really important. Just to recap, first step is actually to begin where you are, so in a place of relaxation and surrender, the best you can. And in that place, you're best primed to know what to accept. And just ask yourself, is this just right for me now? And if it is, then how can I best be nourished by this food? And setting that up to be part of your day. And then what's the best thing I do with it? How can I make the best use of this? Bring out the best of it. And having done that, I come back into the cycle of no longer needing to try, simply surrendering. And that's the recycle. I hope that's helpful, and yeah, do let me know what you make of it. Bye for now.